The Western Cape is one of South Africa's adventure treasure troves, with the Cape cycle routes being perfectly poised to plunge you right into the heart of it. Their 750-kilometre cross-Cape route is regarded as the mother of all routes, or as some may identify more strongly with, the mother-in-law, and it starts right here in Plettenberg Bay. Over the next 5 days, we are here to experience the best that this route has to offer, not just on the bike, but off the bike as well. We're looking forward to experiencing the hospitality of the towns along the way, ride quad bikes, and do all sorts of other adventurous activities. Strangely enough, you'll be expecting us to jump on our bikes now and ride away. We're going to kick off this journey kayaking.
Oh wow, you bring your boardies, bro.
I did, but I didn't bring my suntan. It's the middle of winter.
Well, it's a beautiful day, let's get after it.
Yeah. The Bitto River meanders its way to the sea on the outskirts of Plettenberg Bay on its northern side. This small river system is a sanctuary to an abundance of bird life and fish species, which allowed us to immerse ourselves into the flow of our journey from the very first paddle stroke. Having spent a lot of time in kayaks over the years, putting paddles into the water was a welcome and familiar sensation for Jason and I, which incited the usual antics. The Bitto Kayaks operation, based out of the boutique Emily Moon Hotel, left us with a sense of wanting to explore the area even more, but we had some serious ground to cover and not much time. This is what exploring's all about. If you don't go, you don't know. You'll never know. Good. Swinging our legs over our bikes, our cycling journey would begin with a ride to and through the indigenous Deep Valley forests, our riding highlight for the day. Within the first few kilometers, we were greeted by wide open, fast gravel roads, the perfect way to get our legs warmed up and our minds into cycling mode. The Deep Valley forests and surrounding areas are packed with all sorts of adventurous activities. The 3 elephant trails are very popular for trail running and hiking. Not surprising when you're embraced by seemingly endless indigenous vegetation, elusive wildlife, and winding gravel roads that dip and climb in and out of the valleys. It is a natural playground to explore and immerse yourself in. As much as we would have liked to spend more time in the area, our day was coming to a close, and with the delicious oysters of 34 South calling, we plunged our way down the infamous Samola Hill into Knysna, the home of the Knysna Oyster Festival.
Bit of a tight schedule after cruising all the way in from Cape Town today, but we snuck into the waterfront in twilight. Gonna grab a few oysters because it is the Oyster Festival, of course, and then get cozy at the Knysna Hollow.
Yep. The 10-day Oyster Festival is a highlight experience in the Western Cape. With a plethora of activities from art and cultural experiences to sports events and fantastic cuisine, it comes as no surprise that Knysna is the place to be for your midwinter breakaway. With our oyster starter holding off the hunger pains just enough and a busy day now behind us, a hearty dinner and a good night's rest was in order. We found exactly that at the tranquil Knysna Hollow and its cozy social eatery restaurant. This bike-friendly stay offers incredible value for money, with their service and hospitality being world-class. See, this is what I'm concerned about. You know, we're starting off the day and you're supposed to be fueling your body with relatively uncomplicated food so you can get the miles in and you don't cramp and all that kind of. We're going to ride the 7 Passes Road today. J-Dog's fueling with salami, blue cheese and croissants. I'm a little bit nervous to be riding behind him, and I'm more nervous because I don't have the speed to get past him and ride ahead.
Don't forget the beans.
And beans. Tickets. I think I'm done. But what would a trip of this nature be without second breakfast? Il de Pain is a buzzing cafe-style restaurant surrounded by the picturesque Knysna Lagoon. Their creative patisserie is testimony to their belief that life is endlessly delicious, abundant and full of tastes to share, savor and celebrate.
What are you guys looking forward to today?
So much. Looking forward to this croissant, but sadly it's come to an end quite quickly. Unlike the 7 Passes Road, I believe. Strangely enough though, I am looking forward to riding it, because it's It's going to culminate in finishing off with the Trails of the Garden Route Trail Park, which I believe are mint and J-Dog's never ridden in.
Yeah, be a first timer. What's the vibe?
Lots of flow. I think on the Cannondale Sculpils they're going to be lots of fun as well. Now sufficiently fueled, we hopped aboard the Sculpils, making our way out of town along the banks of the stunning Neisner Lagoon, heading for the famous Red Bridge and Phantom Pass climb. With the excitement of what lay ahead, it wasn't long before some Jason-related bike admin unfolded, which, as it turns out, is standard on trips of this nature.
We're 10 k's into the ride.
I'm ready.
How have you got a puncture ready?
I have no idea. Does not bode well.
I can tell you, it's Jack Russell on the bike. And there's any hint of on the surface of there being a possible opportunity to shrub. The Jack Russell will do it. With our mechanical tax paid up front, the big test of the day would come in the form of the Seven Passes Road, which connects Neisner to George on a mix of gravel and tar roads. It crosses 10 rivers and 7 gorges, is 75 kilometers long, and passes through thick indigenous forests synonymous with the Garden Route region. Having tamed the 7 passes, the terrain began to open up into easy-going farmlands. This was when we gained perspective of the sizable mountains that separate George from the Klein Karoo, and that we would soon be riding through them. It just so happens that the Cross Cape route goes straight past the popular Garden Route Trail Park. A quick diversion into the park to sample some flow was well worth the effort and left us wanting more. The park offers 20 kilometers of hand-built bench-cut flow trail where the faster you go, the more technical it becomes. With day passes and annual permits available, there's something for everyone. With momentum on our side, we kept on pushing towards our next off-the-bike activity.
Got a bit of a best hits of the 7 passes, I reckon. Most of them got some nice gravel riding, and then Garden Route Trail Park. My first time heading out there. Doug let me lead because it wasn't too technical. The lengthy seat post made it a bit spicy.
Yeah, everything that you see in the trail park now is you can up the grading by twofold because without a drop seat post, it's pretty gnarly. I have a newfound respect for cross-country riders.
But we've been dialing in the setup.
Yeah.
And speaking of setup, I think motorized setup is going to be a good little transition from here. Keen for some quad bikes, bro?
I'm always keen for quad bikes.
Hopefully we can drift them.
We're driving cars on the bus tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
J-Dog throwing donuts and me clipping trees, but this is really, it's a lot of fun, man. It gets the old adrenaline pumping, that's for sure.
I might have got shouted at for throwing a few donuts.
We don't generally love donuts.
That is good fun. No gaan ons braai, papi.
We're gonna
No
braai.
gaan ons braai.
We had such a blast at the Wild X Adventures quad biking in the wilderness. A bit off of our route, but a welcome detour, and we can highly recommend it. It was then off to George and our overnight stay on Redberry Farm. As the day dawned, we realized that somehow the weather gods were on our side, presenting picture-perfect conditions for another day filled with adventure. But first, coffee. So we got some local knowledge here on our side in George, and we were told about this place, Millwick's, that apparently serves the best coffee in town. So we can confirm.
It's warming the soul.
It's good coffee. Got some work to do. Those mountains up there, Montague Pass, lying in wait, and my fitness level being at a -3 out of 10. Really looking forward to it.
And only expect it to hurt.
It's gonna hurt. The Montague Pass lays claim to being the oldest unaltered pass still in use in South Africa. This 7.4 kilometre narrow gravel road was completed in 1848 and built to replace the highly dangerous Cradock Pass. The pass climbs through indigenous forest, Mountain Fynbos, and also passes the historic toll house. As we began our assault, we were enveloped by enormous mountains and awe-inspiring views. The pass is revered by cyclists around South Africa as a true test of strength and endurance, both of which seem to be lacking on our part after heavy winter grazing.
Getting a bit of sunlight there. Nice on the open arms. Getting a bit fresh in the shade. Just being engulfed by these enormous mountains.
We haven't gone very far. We've actually gone up a hell of a long way.
I mean, look at those mountains.
Yeah, come over that.
Clocking, what's your Garmin saying? 1,300 so far. And we're only like 13 k's in. It's been life-changing. Doug's found his legs.
Reaching an altitude of 745 meters, this would be our biggest climb yet and not one to be taken lying down. Or was it? As the Montague Pass winds its way up and out of a gorge, it can be tricky to discern where it summits. With many blind corners and tight turns, it can almost feel endless. The pass is in good condition, with just the right amount of loose rocky moments to keep things interesting. With the endorphins flowing, we took a moment to look back on the breathtaking terrain we had just conquered.
The scale and length of this path does have us questioning a bit when we're ever actually going to get to the top of it. I mean, the views are beautiful, but it's just going on and on and on. Spicy looking corners.
Yeah, when you're coming up from the bottom, as the climb presents itself, you tend to wonder if you're going to be able to have the power on the legs to turn the pedals up some of the punchy stuff. But really, it is rideable, and it gives you that time when you're taking it as slowly as we were to just check things out. There's so many trails that run off these mountains, beautiful stream right next to the road. I've not spent much time in George, none really, always passed through it, but without a doubt I'm coming back here with my enduro bike as well.
Beautiful. Let's keep riding on to Herald.
We were now halfway through our journey. We could feel the change in pace to something more relaxed, and we would happily settle into it. We were not the only ones taking advantage of the superb winter conditions. It was great to see plenty of people getting outside and enjoying the splendor of the surrounds. Yeah, we interrupt this episode to bring our Australian viewers a little bit of eye candy.
Harold's Wines is a place we wanted to stop over and grab something to eat, but unfortunately because of all the lockdowns we aren't able to do that. But in saying that, it seems like quite a strange place, or rather an interesting place, or a difficult place to grow grapes, to produce wine. Intriguing, and definitely somewhere that I think we're going to have to pay a visit in the future.
Not being able to enjoy some fine wine at the Herald Wine Estate, we happened to stumble across a bit of a gem. It was the Over the Mountain Guest House and Tea Garden, just a bit further on from the wine estate. We found out that the quaint farmhouse has accommodation for up to 26 people and can confirm that their food was scrumptious. Roasterkoek and scones were the order of the day, and it was a fitting toast to our Montague efforts before setting off to Oudtshoorn for a slightly more wild experience. We weren't entirely sure what to expect when arriving at the Buffelsdrift Game Lodge for an elephant feeding experience, but it is safe to say that what we got was something completely unique. The trio of rescued elephant, while enormous, were gentle but playful. Spending a few brief moments with them before they moved off back into the wild was something we will never forget.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
Thank you. I'm never washing this hat. It's got elephant schnoz on it.
There are a variety of other wildlife experiences to enjoy at Buffelsdrift, including meerkat and cheetah safaris, along with luxury tented accommodation on the banks of a hippo-filled dam. The Oudtshoorn region is popular for these kinds of wildlife experiences, but our accommodation at the Swartberg Manor that evening would take us north out of town to rest under the majestic Swartberg Mountains, a pass we had become familiar with on our Karoo crossing. Now, well away from the busier towns, we sat back and enjoyed the gentle fading light on snow-dusted peaks. We had to throw a couple of ostrich steaks on the braai, of course, being in the Klein Karoo. The day-to-day flow of the riding and seeing the Cape at a slower pace meant that our shoulders were well dropped by now. With uncharted territory ahead and much ground to cover en route to Greyton, we would hit the road early in the morning. Unfortunately, having to miss out on a tasty breakfast at the manor due to our early start, we were rewarded with beautiful morning light as we snaked our way along the gravel road to Calitzdorp, bringing back fond memories of our Karoo crossing ride which shared this section of road.
Lovely fresh morning out, just off the Rooiberg Pass. It's a bit chilly. Might be a jackets and gloves kind of day.
The gravel road between Calitzdorp and Van Wyksdorp makes its way south before heading up and over the Gamkeberg Nature Reserve. We attempted to warm up the legs and bodies in the approach to the pass, but were more successful at acquiring ice cream headaches from the chilly morning air. Neither of us had explored this region of the Klein Karoo, and thus were not quite sure what we were in for on the Rooiberg Pass.
Incredible to see the landscape shift over the days. I've always been someone that's maybe a little bit reserved when it comes to exploring the Karoo, because the idea of it is always been it's dry and unforgiving, and it's dry and for the most part unforgiving, but damn, it's beautiful. You don't get to see rock structures, formations, valleys like this anywhere else. It is unique beyond words.
That's a sign we're at the top.
It says Rooiberg Pass, 797 meters of elevation, and it was built in 1928. And it took us about that much time to ride up here.
What would it have been? Hour 32?
Not too bad.
The southern side of the pass was our longest descent yet, and we were glad to let gravity do some work for a change. We could just sit back and enjoy the kilometers ticking away and have a bit more fun as we finished off the first of two passes that we would be riding en route to Greyton. Hopping into the Hilux once again to cover some ground, we drove along a stunning section of the route to Gracias Pass, just north of Riversdale. Setting off as we hit the tar above the pass, this was another unknown for us, which surprisingly had more descending than climbing. We weaved our way along and through some high mountains before bombing down into Riversdale and a much anticipated refuel at O'Mule Bakery. We had heard about some potential roadside pools to swim in towards the Boersmansbos Reserve, and we cruised through the farmlands to find them. This is the heart of dairy country in the Western Cape. The winter runoff was certainly fresh, but that was probably for the better after some good hours on the bikes. Setting off for our final night at Greyton Lodge, we unfortunately didn't have the time to stop off in Swellendam, where one could easily spend a few days exploring the town and surrounding nature reserves. Greeted by comfortable rooms that opened out into a lovely garden courtyard, we were once again unwinding for the final day at the beautiful Greyton Lodge. The town of Greyton is only a couple of hours from Cape Town and is another adventure hub we were glad to be stopping over at. The Greyton mountain bike trails are highly regarded, and we took the morning to head out and explore some of the ones closer to town with the help of a Strava search.
Some of the more eagle-eyed viewers might have also noticed Doug has chosen to accessorize his farm gate with some full-on downhill pedals. Just what you need for gravel riding, eh?
I find they so versatile.
With much more to do between great hiking, lovely restaurants, of which we enjoyed a brilliant dinner and service at Rupert's Bistro, Greyton is on the repeat list for sure. We made sure to enjoy our breakfast at Greyton Lodge before leaving town, and just as well, we were unassuming to the kind of challenge Franschhoek Pass would pose us. We put wheels to the gravel a few kilometers before Theewaterskloof Dam Bridge and would soon be on our approach to Franschhoek Pass.
Theewaterskloof,
Very large dam!
quite windy too.
With the first signs of bad weather brewing for our entire trip, the pace was on to reach Stellenbosch before the rain. We were already thinking about trading in our intended ice creams at the finish for something a bit warmer. The back of Franschhoek Pass was unrelenting. Sweeping corner after sweeping corner, we slogged our way for a bit longer than anticipated.
Looks like we're locked in. We're not going to be able to eat for the duration of Franschhoek Pass. Feeding up baboons prohibited. Hope you've eaten enough, Doug.
And winter's been good. Hibernation's been effective.
Sounds like it.
So I think I've got the surplus to give me up. Building up on jungle bars and
Energy jellies.
yeah. That was definitely longer than expected.
It was a bit, but weather more superb than expected, which was a bit of a blessing. And you survived.
Barely. But I must say, to tick off another pass, feels good. One to go.
One more to go. Let's hit it.
The popular tourist town of Franschhoek, or surrounding wine farms, would really serve as an equally great location to draw your cross-Cape adventure to a close, but we would press on for the final few kilometers into Stellenbosch.
A little bit of a change of plan from the ice creams we had in mind at the top of Franschhoek.
I think an appropriate change of plan.
Your face a little bit
A little
red.
bit fresh on the way down, but
Some spattering of rain.
we've made it.
Yeah, so we traded in the ice creams for 18 coffee. I think a fitting finish to what's been a jam-packed 5 days.
Unreal 5 days, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. The mountains have blown our mind. Trail's been great.
Good, we're coming back.
Do be coming back.
With warm 18 coffee goodness in our bodies, we came to terms with the 5 days of incredible adventure that we had just completed and cannot wait to get another helping of. The Cape cycle routes are available for free to everyone. Our suggestion is that you plan your own gravel adventure and then shape it to your desires. The Cross Cape had delivered superbly, and then some. We can't wait to come back.